about the issues pertaining to our that are relevant to, and the relevancy of our issues in terms of what we experience, we're looking for someone to identify. It's like, you have your husband, your boyfriend, right? And you tell him everything. You tell him about what colors you wear and this and that, and he said, girl, why don't you get yourself a girlfriend? Because what he's saying is, I'm a guy, I can't relate. And you look at him, does this make me look fat? Does this make me look slim? Do these colors does this color look good on me? And he's like, why don't you have a girlfriend who tells you that? I don't know. Because he's not wired that way. And you hear that especially from men over 35. They're just not wired that way. They don't know. Right? Because traditionally they have been told to just look at it from this perspective. Now, a modern man, however, is perhaps more in touch. He'll probably say, yeah, that color looks good on you. And if you're his age, you're like, yeah, because it's like having a girlfriend, having a man, but he's like your girlfriend, your best friend. Maybe that works for modern women, but I think for women like myself, it might not work for us. I think we want a man who is less volatile, right? Less prone to violent tendencies. So maybe if we feminize him a little bit and socialize him a little bit and tell him that, a modern man should do this. I remember years ago when the big thing was the metrosexual thing. Y'all remember that? The metrosexual, the man who went and got his nails manicured, and he even wore clear nail polish. Remember that one? And then he groomed his eyebrows, so he would trim them. I mean, we used to trim them for men, but now he trims them and grooms his eyebrows. And he stands before the mirror every morning and he, puts on his face, kind of like he makes sure his face looks good. That was the metrosexual man. We're taking it a step further now. He's the same guy now who's evolved into the modern man. That's the same dude. Because the metrosexual, he's probably 33, right? He's probably now just about 33, 34. So he's still in that age range. So now he's called a modern man because he's more in touch with his feelings. So he's likely to cry and tell you and you're going to tell him it's okay to cry. And we're going to say, yeah, it's okay to cry until something goes terribly wrong. And you probably are going to tell him to shut up and stop crying and get busy. I'm just saying, we need to, I'm just saying, you haven't hit real life yet. Wait until life experiences hit you, such as giving birth to a child or driving down the street and your car runs off because of icy roads. And he's sitting there crying. And you're like, then if you're crying, what am I supposed to do? Wait until real life hits you. This is what I'm saying sometimes about our culture. We like to experiment. And we experiment with ideas without having any kind of idea how it is executed in real time. So for those now who are endorsing and who are saying, well, being a modern man and being, all of that is good, wait until real life hits you. I think that there is a line that we can draw between being a modern man and this hypermasculinity stuff. I think we have sometimes pushed men into being what we refer to as hypermasculinity, where they have to be super masculine all the time. Like they can never ever come off that cliff. I think maybe they're tired, right? So they can, but there's a line, there's a medium and a balance. I think we need to strive for that balance. In trying to redefine the role of a man, maybe we have taken him down too many notches. So he himself doesn't even know who he's supposed to be. I think men are striving to say, well, what do you want me to be? What role do you want me to play? What role do you see me play? What do you think I should do? What do you think I should be doing? And I think that's where we're finding ourselves right smack in the midst of that. That is the conundrum that faces us, isn't it? That defining role, we're in the midst where we need to find the balance between being a modern man and the hypermasculinity. See, they're two polar opposites. The modern man is so in touch with his feelings, he's almost a feminized version of a man. But he's easier to deal with. He's not a threat to us physically, right? And he can understand us better. The hypermasculine dude over here is everything that we're like, please don't be a caveman around me. Don't throw a fit. you threaten me, you make me feel unsafe. So we're looking for a balance. I think that balance is achievable by simply saying, well, I'm not sure that if in a situation like, a terrorist attack, or if there's a mass shooting and we're out, that I want you to cry. We need to say that. I don't think that it means that I want you to cry. So when they write these things over and men say things like that, 18 to 29-year-old men, I'm like, you haven't had the benefit of life experience yet to know how you're going to respond in the event that something happens. You haven't had the benefit of life experience to see what will come out if you're faced with the life and danger stuff, right? So listen to what some folks are saying. They're saying men are not supposed to show vulnerability. And then it says that taking off the masks that men traditionally wear, can lead to more success, wealth, and fulfilling relationships. And I'm like, define success, right? Wealth is a given, but define success. And fulfilling relationships with who? Relationships with women who are looking for not a hyper masculine guy, but not a feminized version of a man either. She wants a man. Let me ask you this. If you're a woman, as a woman, are you comfortable with, in the mornings when you're both getting dressed, he spends as much time before the mirror as you do? Tell me if that is your how that makes you feel, right? And like I said, the best thing that I can think of is if something terrible happens, there's a terrorist attack, or there is a mass shooting and you're out at an event, and instead of him covering he's pulling you over him to cover him because he's so in touch with his feelings, he's crying. Is that the image that you want? Or do you want a balance where he says, look, I feel you, you're on your period, something is going wrong, it's okay, just come here, I can hug you and make you feel better. I think that's more like what we're looking for, right? We're looking for the kind of man who is going to understand what it means, right? What it means to be a man, or what it means to be a man with a woman in a relationship. What it means to be a man who is a desirable partner. What it means to be a man who understands what his partner needs and serves that purpose. I really think that's what women are looking for. So we have this placebo, we have this panacea that we think if you all become feminized, then that is going to suit all of us, and not necessarily so. I don't know that being less masculine is going to lead to more success and fulfilling relationships. Wealth is a variable because you can go create an app and you become wealthy, right? Right? But success is defined by who? Do I want you to be standing before the mirror every day practicing your smile? That's what I do. Are you going to say, is he going to say, baby, if I put lipstick on or if I put lip gloss on, will that be okay? Or if he says, maybe I should wear the underwear you wear. I like the underwear that you wear. We're talking about being a modern man, and it seems to me that we're kind of stretching the boundaries and experimenting a little bit. So you have to ask yourself, if you're a woman in a relationship, you really have to ask yourself, well, what makes you feel safe and comfortable with a man? What type of man makes you feel safe and comfortable? Are you comfortable exploring his boundaries, whether he wants to be a modern man or he's going to remain a traditional man? And does a traditional man satisfy you or irk you? Because maybe a traditional man smarks back to something that might have terrified you. I don't know. People are different. And in today's modern world, I find that people tend to be, people tend to have issues, and people tend to think that there is something that is going on. It's interesting to me because in redefining the role of a modern man, we're stretching the bounds of our civilization. And I think what we're trying to say, there have been so many wars. Wars have proven to be destructive to all humans everywhere. But so if we feminize them, maybe they won't want to go to war. Okay. And they're going to find a different way to fight a war. Right? maybe we're thinking if we feminize them, then there will be less rape and sexual assault. Yeah, I can see where that thinking is going. But was their hypermasculinity what contributed to sexual assault and rape in the first place? What is it? I think what we need to examine is, what is it that makes a man a man? What is it? Is it his socialization? Is it in his DNA? I think we need to examine it, because I think what we have looked at is one part of it. We have looked at it from the fact that he's socialized this way. So if we socialize him by feminizing him, then maybe that would be the answer. But what about the other part of it? How is he made up? Because there's some things that as a woman we take for granted, right? We take for granted that they assign the color pink to us. Okay. But so we are socialized to identify with pink. So we think pink looks good on us because we're female. But I like red, and I like green, and I like brown, and I like beige. Right? I like those colors too. Seriously. I like earth tones. Not very feminine, are they? Okay, right. And I also like to put on makeup. I like to look pretty. I don't know if I'm wired that way, but I just know that I like to surround myself with pretty things. I'll go in a store and I like everything that is pretty. But a man, my partner walks into the store and he gravitates to the colors over there. Is that socialization, or is that the way he's wired? Is there something in his DNA from thousands of years ago that he's looking for? If you don't believe me, take your guy to a Dick's Sporting Goods store and you just walk across the hall to Victoria's Secret. If you bring him into Victoria's Secret, he just looks around and he's like, oh my God, really? Have you ever gone to the mall and seen men just sitting outside the stores like, it's Saturday, I could be watching the game, I could be working in the yard, and he just has this hangdog look on his face? Whereas me, I'm geeked out. I'm like in hog heaven, shopping everywhere. Like, oh. So is it more the way we are socialized, or is his DNA crying out? It's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this progresses, because here are some things that they're saying, right? They're saying that they told the story of a young man. He's on a mission to personally impact people over 18 by awakening them through their true self. Listen to this. They value self-awareness. So modern masculinity says dare to feel. So they're committed to themselves. They're saying stop and spend some time with yourself and discover yourself. Okay. I can see how that will lead to you being a better partner, a better father, a better boss, if you understand yourself. Yeah, because that's going to make you uncover what your triggers are and what leads to certain types of negative behaviors that perhaps impact the people around you. So that's a good one, right? Value self-awareness, know who you are, right? Okay, they're non-conformists. The rigid gender roles for men and women are becoming loosely defined as millennials challenge the status quo. Just like I said, gender is fluid. Everything else is becoming fluid. And I'm going to leave that right there. And listen to this. This one is a biggie for me. Men don't want to compete with one another. So out the door goes competitive sports. Because what drives competitive sports is that men want to compete with one another, and they want to prove that I am better than you and I can do this. So if they don't want to compete with one another, then out the door will go competitive sports as we know it. The evolution of man. They value authenticity. They're not going to pretend to be someone they're not. Listen to this. They want to be vulnerable. This is a big deal. Men want to be vulnerable. Hello, somebody. I don't know what's going on. Men want to be vulnerable. Okay. They act according to their values. So they're going to follow their strengths and weaknesses. right? And they listen to their heart, not just their mind. Very key. They are now listening to their heart and not their mind. So their mind is where their instincts are, their masculine instincts are. So they're going to listen to their heart that says, oh, no, don't do it that. Don't compete. Just be okay. It's all right. She's a girl. Yeah, but I'm a guy. She's a girl. But sometimes I can be a girl too. I don't have to sound like a man like my dad did or my uncle did or my teacher did. I can just be whatever she wants me to be. Modern masculinity. This is Harry Kemick with Down to Earth. Thanks so much for joining us. Come back and join us again. Be blessed, everybody.